So hello again, everyone, and welcome back. We're excited to see you. We're happy you're here for your third day of service. And this session is Navigating Your Year of Service, and it is the second session of your AmeriCorps Vista pre-service orientation. In this session, we're going to review and clarify some of the benefits that you may want to know more about, just so that you can know what you need to do to get the most out of them. We're also going to explore some of the areas of the VISTA terms and conditions to make sure that you don't get in trouble while serving. Also, we'll share some sources of help and support that you can draw on throughout your service and beyond. So once again, I'm Jessica Birch.
And I'm Ann Oti, and we are coming to you live from Washington, D.C.
So before we jump in and get started today, I know that there may be some of you who are once again joining as a group. I am now going to enter the attendance thing in the chat panel. If you are attending as a group, please type in the names of those who are attending with you. Now, if you are attending with you and only you, if Ann Oti is sitting at her computer by herself, she does not need to type her name because we have you in here. So April and Zach, I got you, but we don't need you in there. Only if you're as a group do you want to put that in there. So please go ahead and do that so that we can mark you as attended. So, Ann, you want to start us off with this little fun activity that we like?
Sure. So now that you guys know who we are and where we're located, we want to know where you guys are serving. Using the annotation tools on the upper left side of your screen, click on the one that looks like an arrow on the far left and use it to point to where you are serving as a VISTA. So as you can see, Jessica pointed to Washington, D.C., where we are currently.
That's right, yeah. So just do that, let us know where you're serving. So it looks like, Megan, I sure hope you're not in Canada. I know, Canada's great, but we don't have Vista serving there. So it looks like Brett there is in Louisiana. Got a lot of people in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, yep. I think that's Allegheny College right over there.
Yeah.
We do have some people, looks like in, Oregon. Still got Canada up there. We got some Louisiana. Yeah, so there's a good concentration in Pennsylvania.
We have some people from Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico folks. I like it, Puerto Rico. Great. So, yeah, that's a great, we see you're all kind of spread out a little bit. Will is in the ocean. I don't know where Will's serving. Okay, he moved. He's in Pennsylvania. Cool.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. This was just to give us an idea of where you all are located, and you can connect with each other through the campus map and your online classroom by using the class roster that you can download. So you are now in your third day as a VISTA. We hope it's going well. We expect you're participating in an on-site orientation and training during these first weeks of VISTA service. So you're likely learning a lot about your organization, how things get done there, what you'll be doing as a VISTA member, and more about the community you'll serve. Today's session is all about you and how you can get the most of your VISTA experience. By the end of the session, we hope that you'll be able to identify the VISTA benefits that will support you during your service and know how to access them, describe the key terms and conditions of VISTA service and follow them, and access the support you need to have a successful year of service. So let's start by looking at the two main websites that you will use as a VISTA member, the VISTA Campus and MyAmeriCorps. My.AmeriCorps.gov is where you applied to your position, where you did your direct deposit, and where you can access your VISTA assignment description. VistaCampus.gov is where you completed your onboarding courses and tutorials, but the VISTA Campus has much more than the tutorials you completed before coming to PSO. There are opportunities for ongoing learning. You can sign up for courses, find other VISTAs, and also learn more about all of your benefits. So let's dive deeper into all the VISTA Campus has to offer. Jessica?
So as Ann mentioned, by now you've already created your account in the Vista Campus, and to make it easier for you to find resources you need, we're going to try to take a look at the campus based on how it's organized. So we're going to first start with Life as a Vista. You've already seen some of the resources here. You completed those during pre-service orientation, and the in-service resources, really where you are now because you're officially Vista members, will be useful to you while you're serving. and on there's just a few examples. You're going to want to refer back to this section probably quite a bit during your service, especially to the benefits section. You're also going to want to reference the VISTA member handbook because it is your guide to policy and a source for answers. Many common questions like, how many leave days do you get? Those are important things you're going to want to know.
Mm-hmm. The work section provides online tutorials, readings, and self-directed learning on topics like working with volunteers, communication, fundraising, and more. VISTA program area resources contain materials related to areas like tutoring, mentoring, financial literacy, and education. So if your project relates to one of these, you'll definitely want to look there. There are also additional resources around community development, project management, and so much more.
So this part of the section and this next part we're going to talk about is the connect and learn. And it's one of my favorite because I think it's the most fun. This is where you can really, as it says, connect and learn with one another. So here you're going to find the VISTA forums with numerous discussion topics, recipes, how to live on that living allowance, clipping coupons, how to recruit volunteers. There's a smorgasbord of things there for you to look at on the forums. There's also more information about upcoming webinars and those VISTA online courses. And as Ann mentioned earlier when we did that map exercise, we do have like a living VISTA map that's on all the time on the VISTA campus where you can connect with current VISTAs serving in your area or even alumni. So we definitely wish that you check that out and see who else is near you.
Yeah. It's important to know that PSO is really just the start of your learning process as a VISTA member. You will receive an invitation to a webinar, plan your professional development within the next week or so. This session will help you develop a concrete plan for gaining the knowledge and skills you'll need to succeed. Your session is scheduled for August 16th, which is on the slide. Plus, every month, VISTA offers you webinars on a range of topics related to life as a VISTA, like living on the living allowance and using the Siegel AmeriCorps Education Award, and topics related to the work of VISTA, such as building a digital ad campaign and strategizing your funding search. We record these sessions and offer them as webinars on demand, so if you miss a session, you can go back and watch it at any time.
And we also offer 2 optional courses. One is called Volunteer Mobilization, and one is on resource development that you can take as a VISTA member. These courses combine the training you receive during PSO with live webinars, online discussion groups, readings, and assignments. The courses are free, and if you pass, you can receive college credit recommendations. These 2 courses are not part of the PSO blend, but they are available for you to apply if you're interested. And if they will help you with your VISTA assignment description and with your professional development goals. So if you are interested, you can click the Apply Now button on the VISTA campus where this information is held. You will receive an email when the next round of course offerings is available, which is slated for late fall of this year. And Ann, you took one of these courses, right, as a VISTA?
Yeah, I did. I would definitely recommend taking these courses. I took the resource development course during my service year, and it was really, really beneficial to me during my funding search, and I was able to write some stellar grants.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. The member handbook is one place that you can reference for VISTA policy, like Jessica mentioned earlier. She gave us examples like how much leave time you have as a VISTA member, and you can use it to find out the terms and conditions, laws and regulations, and so much more of what guides VISTA policy. The left column allows you to quickly find a specific chapter. If you have not done so already, I would take a little time to familiarize yourself with the information in this member handbook.
That's right. We really can't stress it enough. Usually people who have questions about some part of policy can generally be found in the VISTA member handbook. So this should be your first stop if you have those kinds of questions.
Mm-hmm.
So as a VISTA member, there are also a lot of benefits available to you during your year of service. And most of you have seen this page by now on the VISTA campus, and this page really contains an overview of the benefits that are available to you. Some of the benefits, such as the living allowance, are available to all VISTAs, but other benefits may only apply to some of you, such as child care. So we are now going to take a look at a few of these. We're going to take a look at the ones that tend to generate a lot of questions or that have a lot of nuances around them. Your PSO Blend workbook was sent to you last week, and the link is in the chat. We recommend that you keep this workbook handy throughout your service, as it does provide quite a bit of detail about your benefits and your terms and conditions of service. It can also be used as a quick reference during this webinar in case you need to make notes. And one thing I do just want to add, so the next part what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some of these benefits. And after each topic, we're going to have a specified Q&A on that topic. So the first thing we're going to talk about, Anne's going to talk about here in a second, is the living allowance. It would help us to ensure that we can answer all of your questions. When we're talking about the living allowance, put in the chat, in the Q&A, questions you have specifically about the living allowance. We'll definitely get to your other questions. Just helps us organize and make sure we can answer them all. So, Anne, let's talk about everyone's favorite topic, the living allowance.
Thank you, thank you. So you all might be interested to know when you're going to receive your first living allowance payment. So when will you be getting your first full payment? August 11th, it's a Friday. So unless you're paid by a grant, and then you will need to check with your supervisor for your pay date. You guys are starting in the middle of a pay period, so you'll receive a partial living allowance on the 11th, and then it will be for 13 days of service. You'll receive a pay for a full 14 days on August 25th and on. So the living allowance schedule can be found on page 25 of your PSO Blend workbook, as well as on the Vista campus. You are paid every 2 weeks, which is not the same as twice a month. With your monthly amount, you can do the math to determine how much will appear in your bank account every 2 weeks before taxes. Because state taxes are not deducted, you need to determine what you owe to the state you are a resident of. We suggest that you check with your state's tax office to figure that out. And if you don't know what the amount of your living allowance is, you should ask your Vista supervisor first. If they do not know, then you may ask your state office or call the National Service Hotline in that order. You can also view the living allowance rates by county document on the Vista campus to determine your living allowance amount using the county where you are serving. I believe we're posting that in the chat. And you can access your living allowance statement in my.americorps.gov. If you are paid by a grant, your MyAmeriCorps account will not display your living allowance statement. You need to contact your supervisor to find out what your pay schedule is. So from the benefits page on the campus, you can access the living allowance page. Click on the Resources tab to access resources, find out more information about your living allowance, and learn how to live on the living allowance. This does also discuss how to make ends meet on the campus forum, once again highlighting the importance of support that you all can provide to each other. You are paid through direct deposit, which means that the money automatically appears in your bank account every 2 weeks. So please, please, please make sure that you entered your bank account and routing numbers correctly in MyAmeriCorps. Otherwise, your living allowance will not arrive, and it could be weeks before you're paid. The routing number and account number are on your checks, and they may also be found on your bank's website, but make sure that you select the correct one. You all probably know this already, but the account number on your debit or credit card is not your checking account or routing number, so please don't try to enter it. If you're confused or unsure of these numbers, please contact your bank.
That's right. We can't stress the importance of direct deposit enough. We don't want to see you go weeks without a paycheck because you didn't have that information correct. So please triple check it. I'd rather call my bank 3 times and talk to the same guy who's like, man, this girl just does not get it, instead of guessing at it.
Right. Related to your living allowance, we typically get a lot of questions about public assistance, and we wanted to give you some important information. If you apply and enroll in SNAP, formerly known as Food Stamps, now, or at any time during your service year, your living allowance and other Vista payments will be counted as income in calculating your eligibility and benefit level. For most other public assistance benefits, if you're applying for new benefits, your living allowance should not be factored in when determining the level of benefits you receive. If you were already receiving SNAP, TANF, LIHEAP, or other public assistance benefits prior to enrolling in the VISTA program, your living allowance or any other payments you receive from the VISTA program should not affect the level of assistance you receive. Public benefits are managed by state or local entities, and CNCS is not involved in how they are administered. So you'll want to speak with a caseworker for advice. In about a week, you will be able to print a letter citing the authority for income disregard from your home page in MyAmeriCorps, my.americorps.gov. Okay, so we have just reviewed information regarding the living allowance you received during service. Remember to refer to the benefits page of the Vista campus for more details about any of your benefits. We may have generated a few questions about your benefits, so we'll pause to take some of your questions now. I'll invite our operator to give us instructions on how to ask questions by the phone.
If you'd like to ask a question by the phone, please press *1 and clearly record your name for question introduction. Again, *1 and clearly record your name for question introduction. One moment, please, to see if we gather questions from the phone.
All right, thanks. And you can continue to submit your questions online through the Q&A panel. If you don't see the Q&A panel, look in the upper right corner of the screen and click on Q&A.
Great. So as we wait for any questions to come in, just remember, if you don't know what your living allowance amount is, talk to your supervisor, triple check your direct deposit information, want to make sure you get paid. Those are really the two biggies here with that.
Mm-hmm. So it looks like we got our first question. If we live in another state than where we are from, what state do we pay the tax to? So you are going to pay the taxes to whatever state that you are.
It'll be to where you're earning the income.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Jason, I'm not sure where you're serving. I know some states, for example, like Ann and I both work in DC, but neither one of us actually live in DC.
Right.
So some states have some like reciprocal state tax, how they do their tax things. But if you relocated to serve or something like that, and now you're in a new state, you're going to pay taxes to the state that you are earning the income.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a look here. We have another question. Nicole here says, hi, panelists. Hello, Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
I had a quick question. I'm starting my service on 7/24 and receiving my first partial payment on 7/11. There seems to be some discrepancy there. Let's go through that, Nicole. So your first day of service is the 24th of July. It was this past Monday. And so as Ann mentioned, you're starting in the middle of a pay period. The pay period that you're starting in is from 7/23 until 8/5. So you are going to get paid starting with your first start date. It'll be that 7/24 date. So you're serving 13 days in that pay period. So the living allowance payment that you're going to get on August 11th is going to be for 13 days of pay. So it's going to be just a tiny bit smaller than a normal living allowance payment will be because you weren't in service for the full 14 days in that pay period. The next pay period is from 8/6 to 8/19. There, you're going to be in service all those days. You're going to get a full living allowance payment. It's just this first one, because you're started in the middle of a pay period, that's the reason why it's a little bit less. But you are going to get paid for your whole year of service. You're going to get paid 365 days. It's just the starting one is a little off because everyone starts in the middle of a pay period. So Nicole, I hope that helps answer that question. Let's go to the operator really quickly. Operator, do you have any questions that came in over the phone?
I have no questions from the phone at this time.
Wonderful. And then, Ann, I think we've got the ones in here. You guys are the supervisors, or you're doing your own research. You're getting some good information. I like it. So, Ann, you ready to move on to the next topic?
I think so. I think we should shift gears and talk about health care.
Oh man, I don't want to talk about healthcare. Let's skip healthcare. Everyone wants to skip healthcare, right? No, I'm totally kidding. We won't do that to you. Yeah, Ann, you go right ahead.
We understand that healthcare is an important topic, so we can't skip it, and that we all have different needs around healthcare. So we're going to give you guys a overview of the Vista healthcare benefits that are available, and we'll answer general questions. But to protect your privacy, we will refer to specific questions to our benefits providers. To get us started, we have an anonymous poll to give us a sense of what type of health care coverage you guys have. So please choose the one that applies to your situation. I have my own private insurance coverage. I'm covered on my parents' or spouse's plan. I have Medicaid, Medicare, or tribal plan. I'm covered by the VA, TRICARE, or another plan for veterans. Or I don't have coverage and I need to get it.
Or other. Which I think other could be like, I'm Superman and I never get sick and I don't need health care.
True.
So yeah, so take this anonymous poll, like tell us, we just kind of want to see where you fall in. Healthcare is a big topic. We're going to talk about some good stuff here, but just to kind of get an idea of where most people are here.
Yeah.
And for those of you, I know there's a couple people who are joined in like a bigger group, maybe just type in people in your group. It's not like necessarily Ann has coverage through her mom and this is her health insurance number. Don't do that. But maybe like mom, dad, parent, spouse, blah, like maybe just kind of do that as well in case, just so everyone can have their thoughts entered as well, even if you're on one computer.
Yeah.
All right, looks like that poll closed. The majority of people are under their parents' or their spouse's plan. Nice. All right. Great. No right answer here. That's nothing like that. So yeah, so we just kind of wanted to gauge the temperature of the room. And we're going to talk about some of the benefits that Vista provides with healthcare, whether you have health insurance, if it's through a private insurance company, your parents, Medicaid. We're going to talk about, for those of you who fall under that, what benefits we have, and also for those of you who maybe don't have coverage and are not required to, what we have for you. So let's just dive right into healthcare. As you know, the Affordable Care Act, the ACA governs access to healthcare, insurance, and its provisions apply to everyone, including you as a Vista member. You are required to have insurance unless you are exempt. And what makes someone exempt? Exemptions are available based on a number of circumstances, including certain hardships, some life events, health coverage, or financial status. It also can include memberships in some groups. To find out if you qualify for an exemption, you should visit healthcare.gov. More than likely, most of you are required by the ACA to have health coverage. And based on what you said in the poll, most of you already do. So most of you are covered under your parents or a spouse. I know there's other people in there who said they have their own insurance. So the majority of you, it sounds like, already have insurance. If you don't currently have health care coverage, here's what you need to do. First, you need to go to healthcare.gov and find out, one, if you qualify for an exemption, or if you don't qualify for an exemption, you can use healthcare.gov to find health coverage. And you can also seek assistance from a healthcare navigator to help you through the process, because we know healthcare can be a little tricky.
Super.
So what does Vista offer? So we have two options available to you, and really only one of those options would fit your specific situation. So if you have health coverage, if you have health care and health insurance through your mom, your spouse, Medicaid, the Marketplace, TRICARE, any of that, you're eligible to enroll in the Vista Healthcare Allowance, which provides reimbursement of up to $7,150 for qualifying health care expenses. This is limited to essential health benefits, so elective or cosmetic procedures may not be covered. We set the allowance at $7,150 because that's the maximum out-of-pocket expense that any American will incur in 2017. What can you use it for? You can use the health care allowance towards your annual deductible or co-insurance costs. You can use it for co-payments for office visits or prescriptions. for prescriptions or routine dental care and limited vision services. One thing to note is that the allowance will not reimburse you for the cost of buying health insurance, which means your monthly premiums. So if you have Blue Cross and every month your insurance costs you $100, you can't use this reimbursement to pay for that. If you are exempt, legally exempt, and not required to maintain health insurance, you're eligible to enroll in the Vista Health Benefit Plan. This plan is a safety net that covers basic health care needs. It also covers doctor's visits, lab tests, hospitalization, emergencies, prescriptions, and some other out-of-pocket expenses. It also includes some routine dental care and some limited vision expenses. Both of these benefits are administered by International Medical Group, or IMG. To receive a benefit, you must enroll. There's not an automatic enrollment with this. You have to take action. You must make your selection on AmeriCorpsVista.imglobal.com in order to enroll, and that website is on the screen. And it's also in your workbook. However, we want you to note that other healthcare coverage applications can take weeks or months to be processed. So you have 60 days to select either the healthcare allowance or the health benefit plan in IM Global's system. But if you don't have health insurance and you need to get health insurance, that process can take a long time. So in order to not miss the 60-day deadline that we have for a selection, you need to complete your application for healthcare coverage through healthcare.gov or through the marketplaces no later than your first 30 days of service. Do this as soon as possible because it can take a bit. Another thing to note about these, and I think this might go without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway, you can't have both of these benefits. You will only qualify for one. So you can't have both. And also another thing to note is you can't, if you are legally required to have health insurance, but you just decide, I don't want to have health insurance, you can't have our health benefit plan. The health benefit plan is only for those who are legally exempt. So it's just something to keep in mind. So that was a lot of information. Healthcare is a big old topic. And so we want to take this time now to answer some of the healthcare questions you may have. As a reminder, if you want to ask a question over the phone, you need to press *1 and state your name clearly so that the operator can transfer you on through to us. But we're also going to now look and see if anybody had any questions in the Q&A regarding healthcare. So let's take a look. Ann, did you see any questions come in yet about healthcare? Holy cow, are we sure this chat's working? One thing, I know another question that tends to come up as we wait to see if questions come in. It's only been about a year now since we added routine dental and vision coverage to our healthcare benefits. One thing to note, because this question does come up, someone had mentioned to us at one point, hey, so I have health insurance like for my doctor and things like that through Blue Cross, but I don't have separate dental insurance. Can I still get the dental benefits? Like, do I have to have separate dental insurance in order to use the allowance for those like routine visits, like, you know, to get my teeth cleaned, those sorts of things? And the answer to that is no. That's a different thing. So you don't have to have specific dental or vision coverage in order to get to use the healthcare allowance for those things. You do still have to have like normal health insurance, but you don't have to have specific dental or vision.
And it's really funny that you said that because we got asked that question.
Yes. Yeah, I like it. Lillian, you and I are on the same page. All right, great. So we have another question here. Megan asks, can we use the allowance for fitness and wellness, like a rec center membership? So, Megan, the standard with the healthcare allowance is it's for essential benefits, and like elective or cosmetic procedures are not typically covered. When in doubt, what I'm always going to recommend that you do is follow up with IncomeBased. They're the ones who administer the benefit and know all the ins and outs of it. I don't think that this would be covered because it's not like an essential benefit, but you may want to chat with them and maybe there is something in there.
Yeah.
All right. Let me go to the phone really quickly. Do we have any questions coming in over the phone?
I show no questions at this time from the phone.
Wonderful.
There's the question, if we enroll in the healthcare allowance, is the $71.50 paid out on a reimbursement basis or at the office? And so it's at the reimbursement basis. So what will happen is you'll go to the doctor, or you'll go and you'll buy your prescription, and then through IMG, there will be a form that you fill out and send in your receipts, and then you'll get reimbursed.
Wonderful. Thank you, Anne.
You're welcome.
All right, so we have someone else here ask a question. I have COBRA coverage for health insurance coverage, which will terminate on 1/31/18. Should I enroll in your health coverage? Thank you for that question, Yolanda. So if you have health insurance, and it will expire during service, and this is another question that we get a lot, is we have a lot of people who are currently covered under their parents, but they're going to age out during service. So maybe they're going to turn 27, the big old 27 during their year, and they're no longer going to be able to be covered. If your coverage is going to change within the year, you still want to sign up for what you currently have now. So if you currently have health insurance now, you're going to want to sign up for the health care allowance. For those of you that may age out, then once you age out, you're going to want to look at if you're required to have health insurance or if you're legally exempt. Yolanda, for yours, you'll want to start looking, you want to probably enroll in our health allowance now because you have about 6 months almost of service before your current coverage is going to expire, and then start looking to see what other coverage you could get or if you're legally exempt. But if you currently have health insurance now, you should enroll in our health allowance.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to move on. Oh, let's see. There was one other question here I just saw pop up. It's in the chat. Just a reminder, please put your questions in the Q&A just so we can track it. The chat's sometimes a little harder to follow. But the question here is, what if your doctor suggests that you take particular over-the-counter supplements that are not prescribed? Like something for a chronic condition, can you be reimbursed for these items by providing documentation from your doctor and receipts from your doctor's office? So typically with the health insurance and the health allowance, you can be reimbursed for things that your insurance would cover. If this is something separate, now this is something that's like a little nuanced because your doctor would be recommending it, it's something that's over the counter, that's a question for IncomeBased because they're the ones who would be the ones reviewing your request for reimbursement, and they're going to know what documentation is needed or if it's even something they can entertain reimbursing. So thank you for that question. Definitely follow up with IncomeBased to verify if something like that could be covered.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So now we are going to move on to the next thing. Now this is another fun topic people like.
Yeah.
The Education Award. So Anne, you want to talk about the fun stuff? Why you get the fun stuff, man? You get money, you get health care. Come on. All right. You go talk about the End of Service Award.
All righty. So after successfully completing your year of service, you are eligible for one or two benefits, the Education Award or the cash stipend. So with the Education Award, you receive one of these end-of-service benefits in addition to, not deducted from, your biweekly living allowance. The Education Award is good for 7 years after completing service. It's taxable in the calendar year that it's used. You can use it all at once if you wish, but you can also use it incrementally. If you select the Education Award in about a week, you will have a new link in your MyAmeriCorps account called My Education Award, where you can see the details of and submit education award payment requests at the end of your year of service. The award can be used to pay off federal loans or pay for education at any Title IV institution. And Title IV institutions, just so you guys know, are institutions that accept federal funds. There are also institutions that match the Ed Award, and so definitely check out the link to see which schools match the Ed Award to get the most out of your education award. And yeah, that's pretty much the education award in a nutshell. The other end of service benefit is the cash stipend. And so the cash stipend is paid out via direct deposit at the very end of your service. And the cash stipend is taxable in the calendar year that it is received. So remember, if you selected the education award now and you want to change it to the cash stipend, you can change it at any time prior to your 10th month of service. If you've selected the cash stipend, you are unable to change your selection at this time. Let's talk about loan forbearance. There are ways that you can postpone your repayment of federally backed student loans during your year of service. So if you chose the education award, you can request forbearance, which means that you don't make monthly loan payments during your service year. And if you complete your term, the National Service Trust will pay the accrued interest for the year. Be aware that the interest payment is considered taxable income. Forbearance is processed through your member homepage in your MyAmeriCorps account. Forbearance is not guaranteed, and you must initiate the process by submitting a loan forbearance request in your MyAmeriCorps account. If you have selected the end of service stipend, you can request the loan deferment by applying to your lender, giving the reason of economic hardship. For federally subsidized loans, accrued interest may be paid by the Department of Education if the loan is deferred. Check with your lender for specifics. Loan deferment is not guaranteed, and your lender may not offer it. Perkins loans may be partially forgiven if the Vista elects to receive the cash stipend. So go to the National Service website?
Yes.
The National Service website to learn more about that. I'm briefly going to mention two more programs to consider to help you manage your student loans. First is income-based repayment, which adjusts your monthly payments based on your income. At the Vista, your payments will be pretty low, and they can be as low as $0. It won't reduce the amount that you have to pay back, but it will shrink your monthly payments to a manageable amount. The other strategy works really well in concert with the first. This is the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. Are any of you with federal direct loans considering working in the nonprofit, government, association, or education sectors? If so, you will want to learn about this program. If you work for 10 years in the public service positions and make 120 on-time payments during this time, any balance on your federal loans is forgiven after 10 years. You apply for this at the end of the 10 years, but you'll want to learn now about the type of records that you need to keep in order to apply. Of course, there are a lot of details to both of these, and you can learn more about them at nationalservice.gov. All right, for more details on everything we just covered, go to the Ed Award tutorial, which is at nationalservice.gov, and go to MyAmeriCorps to submit your loan forbearance request with CNCS. Remember that it's your responsibility to submit the forbearance request and check on its status at the end of your year. It's also your responsibility to submit any education award payment requests as well as interest accrual payments. So that is education and loans. Remember to refer to your benefits page of the Vista campus for more details about any of your benefits. So we maybe have gotten some questions about the education award or loans, and so I'm going to invite you all to ask your questions in the Q&A section, or to ask a question by phone, press *1 and record your name clearly.
Great, Anne. So we do have a few questions here. The first, because you just talked about it, Claire asked a question of where on MyAmeriCorps is the form that I can apply for loan forbearance. That is a great question. Thank you, Claire. So the loan forbearance request will be on your MyAmeriCorps member homepage on the left-hand side where it says Education Award or My Education Award. I do want everyone to know that if you go to your MyAmeriCorps account right now, it's not going to be there. All of you, at least the majority of you, submitted your oaths to the Vista Member Support Unit on Monday after the webinar. Those oaths are what the Vista Member Support Unit does to activate you in the system. So you will want to make sure you check that in about a week. It takes about a week for them to activate you into the system. So that space to put your loan in forbearance is not available yet, but if you check back probably next Monday, it'll be there for you to put your loans in forbearance under My Education Award. So thank you for that question, Claire. And then, Ann, we did have another question. I'm gonna lob this one to you.
Okay.
The question came from Megan. Megan asked, can you use the Education Award for future school if you want to go to school after your service?
Yes, you can. That's one of the great things about the Education Award. You only have to make sure that it's at a Title IV institution, which is an institution that can receive federal funds. And like I mentioned previously, on the National Service website, there's a page that lists institutions that match the Education Award. So there are some schools that will match it completely 100%. There are some schools that offer scholarships to AmeriCorps Vista members. And then there's some schools, I think it's Illinois State University, will pay for the whole thing if you are AmeriCorps Vista and are getting your master's in certain programs. So yes, you can use it to pay off federal loans, and you can also use it for future school.
That's right. And one thing I do want to touch on, because this comes up sometimes, and I'm working with a poor gentleman who, working with him for months because there was some confusion around this, so I don't want you to fall into the same thing. The Education Award can be used to pay back federally backed loans and for future school, but it cannot be used to pay debt that you owe to a school. So if you have an unpaid tuition balance that you have not paid at the school, maybe it was for last semester, you can't use your Education Award once you end this service to pay a back debt. Use it for loans, use it for future school, but that's one thing you can't use it for. You can't use it for a debt that you owe. And also, the Education Award can be used for fun stuff too. I mean, not that school isn't fun, I love school, but you could use it to do study abroad if you wanted, you know? Title IV institution, you know, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Let's go to the operator real quick. Operator, are there any questions coming in over the phone?
Sure, no questions from the phone at this time.
Wonderful.
This is a very quiet group.
I know, they all know everything. Okay, great. So you want to go ahead and let's move on now.
Sure, sounds good.
All right.
So we've looked at some of the benefits available to you. Now let's look at your online account in MyAmeriCorps. So once you are activated in the MyAmeriCorps portal, about a week from now, like Jessica said, you're going to see some new options. If you relocated to serve, be sure to update your address by clicking the Edit My Contact Information. Let's go through some of the links in the left menu.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Ann, do you mind if I stop you real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to really push this one. So please update your information in your MyAmeriCorps account as soon as possible. We constantly send out information to you. We send out reminders about this webinar to you. Some of you we couldn't get a hold of, weren't getting our emails because maybe you had a university address that's since expired. Now you're at your site. Maybe, you know, maybe First gave you a cool email address where you're serving. If that's the case, if that's the email address that you're going to be using for AmeriCorps-related stuff, make sure to update that in your account because we want to make sure we can contact you. We contact you about important things, so please, I want to definitely push that one home. All right, Ann, back to you.
Thanks. So, okay, we talked about relocating to serve and updating information. In the left menu, there's the My Living Allowance tab. Your biweekly living allowance statements will be mailed to you, or will not be mailed to you, sorry. Instead, you can view and print them out through your member homepage here. In the My Tax Statements, you can access your W-2 year wage statement and your 1099 miscellaneous form, if you receive one, for filing taxes next January. And then My Service Letter, this is where you can access letters to certify that you are a VISTA and defining income disregard to use when applying for public assistance. If you selected the Education Award, you'll also have a My Education Award link. This is where you will submit loan forbearance requests, later submit Education Award and interest accrual payment requests, and keep track of the status of those requests. And just remember that this isn't going to show up today. It's going to be in a week once you're fully in the system.
That's right. And another question came in about this, so while we're on that topic, someone just asked us, hey, I was trying to do my healthcare stuff, and they say that they can't find me. It's once again because you're not activated in our system yet. So you in a week's time, you'll be able to do everything. You'll be able to make your selection for your healthcare in the IM Global site. You'll be able to do that forbearance. So just, put a calendar reminder on for a week from now.
And I actually think that for healthcare, you'll receive an email from IMG. So that'll be kind of your trigger to know you can go and sign up for whichever one you want.
That is 100% correct, and thank you.
No problem. All right, and then if you have any additional questions about your benefits at any time during your service, the VISTA Member Support Unit, or VMSU, is who you call regarding benefits help with MyAmeriCorps and General Assistance. So we've covered a lot of information, and it's likely that you'll have questions in the coming weeks. So keep this contact information where you can find it. This information can also be found on the VISTA campus.
All right. So now that we've gone over benefits, we've gone around all the cool things that you're going to get as a VISTA and things you can take advantage of. We want to talk about the terms and conditions of service. So we all know that you've done the terms and conditions of service online, but we do want to make sure that everyone is clear on those conditions. So we're going to do a quick interactive activity to review the main conditions of VISTA service, where we tend to get the most questions. So how this is going to work is Ann and I are going to read off a series of statements and scenarios. Please use the same annotation tools that we used earlier on the map to place your arrow in either yes or no sections of the screen after we read the statement. So if you think the answer to the statement is yes, put your arrow in the yes, no in the no. Okay, let's get started. First one, please place your arrow yes or no. I can voice my political opinion using social media, or I am identified as an AmeriCorps VISTA member. All right, a lot of people are saying no, and we got one yes. Michelle Dacre is sticking her, she's following her convictions. Don't fall into peer pressure. Don't be like, oh my gosh, I see a bunch of no, I better put mine in no. Do what you want to do. You know what in your heart is right. All right, a lot of people are, I can never tell when someone like puts theirs close to the line, if they're like on the edge or like, I can't tell how they feel. Okay, so a lot of no's. Aiden, I like kind of the cheating that you're saying yes and no. I appreciate that. So let's go to the answer to this. The answer to this question is yes. Yes. You can, but not while you're at your site. So you can voice your political opinions on your own time, but you can't do it while you're serving or using any equipment at your site. That includes their Wi-Fi network. So I'm picking on First. I'm not trying to pick on First, but First, you just have an easy name to remember. So if I'm at First and the Wi-Fi address is First Rules, don't be on there making political statements. Don't be on your work laptop making political statements. You have to keep your political action limited to your off-duty hours. Also, you cannot represent yourself as a spokesman for AmeriCorps, or a VISTA, for the Corporation for National and Community Service, or your sponsor. So therefore, do not include the VISTA logo on your social media profile if you will be engaging in political activity. We are a federal agency, and we have to be nonpartisan.
So I can't say at the VISTA, this is how I feel?
Definitely not.
Darn.
You can't. I'm sorry, Ann. You can't even say that as an employee.
No, I can't.
So, Ann, let's go to the second question.
Sure. All right. Question 2, or statement 2. I can demonstrate in a political rally. Yes or no?
I like how this is what always happens. The first one, a lot of people say no, and then they find out the answer is yes. They're like, man, it's got to be yes to this second one. No one's saying no.
Interesting.
Will is just circling the board. He's moving all over the place. Rachel, you're like the only no. Exactly. Yep. All right.
All right.
Well, saying yes. One no. I appreciate Rachel standing on her own right there.
All right. Let's see what the answer is. The answer is yes. As long as you are not identified as a VISTA or perceived to be a VISTA. And the perceived to be a VISTA note is really, really important, as you might be serving in a small town or a local area where you are not wearing your VISTA polo shirt or any other VISTA gear, but people still know that you are the VISTA. But when in doubt about a specific activity, you can always consult with your state office first.
Right. All right, third question. I can ask people to donate money to a partisan political candidate as long as it's on my own time and I'm not identified as a VISTA. Yes or no? Ooh, 50% Will's moving around again.
Mm-hmm.
She's so pumped. She's like, I know this answer is no. You got it, yes. I got it, cool. Let's take a look here. Joseph's just asking questions. He's just not even participating. He's almost there. Okay, so that's like almost 50, a little bit more yeses in this side. So the answer to this is no, no, no. You cannot raise money on behalf of a partisan political candidate at any time during your VISTA service. It doesn't matter if you're off duty or at home or while not identified as a VISTA. The Hatch Act prohibits all fundraising for partisan political candidates during your service. However, you can raise funds in support of an issue on your own time, just as long as you're not identified as a VISTA member. So all you yeses, it's a no. Right, Ann?
All right, the next one. I can join my colleagues in prayer at my service site. Yes or no? Nobody knows.
One's answering. No one knows. All right.
Yeah,
Will, man, Will's getting more enthusiastic with his arrow as we go.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right.
All right. Let's see what the answer is. The answer is yes, you can. The only thing is that you cannot evangelize or ask people to pray with you. Also, while your VAD cannot ask you to pray, you are free to practice your religion.
That's right. So this week in this PSO blend, you're going to start talking about your VAD, your VISTA assignment description. So if you read in your VAD and it says, you know, I'm going to pick on you, Will. Will is going to, you know, lead prayer every morning. That's a big no-no. Definitely practice your religion, but part of your VISTA assignment cannot ask you to pray.
Mm-hmm.
So next question. I can have outside employment and or earn additional income while serving as a VISTA member. Yes or no? Okay, Pat's moving. Okay, he's over there now. Or she, I'm sorry, I don't know, either way. Someone just is putting circles, a face. Someone's, hopefully it's, okay, good. I was hoping it wasn't a sad face. All right, most people are yes. I can't tell, Jennifer, if you're right on the edge. So the answer to this is yes. Yes, you can, but there are a few conditions about that, so let's discuss those a little bit. You can have outside employment as long as it does not conflict with your VISTA service. So your outside employment must not conflict with the duties of your VISTA project or service hours. Your VISTA service has to take priority. If you have outside employment, it needs to work around your VISTA schedule, not the other way around. Also, your outside employment cannot conflict with any applicable law or VISTA program requirements or policies. Also, you cannot be employed by your sponsor. So under no circumstances may a VISTA member be an employee or contractor for the sponsor or project to which they are assigned to serve. So I like to use the example of a university. So if you're a VISTA at San Diego State University in their, childhood education department, but I want to work in the admissions office, part-time. That's a no-no because it's the same sponsor. It's a big conflict of interest. So you cannot work and be employed by your sponsor. And last but not least, your supervisor has to approve your outside employment. They must agree that your outside work is not going to interfere with your VISTA project. If your work does interfere, you may be asked to either end that outside employment or end your VISTA service. So if you do have outside employment or are looking for outside employment, you'll need to fill out a form, and that information can be found on the Vista campus. The link is on the slide. Yeah, you can always just type in outside employment as well on the Vista campus. But there is a form for you to fill out to get approval, give that to your supervisor, and they'll pass that up the chain.
Mm-hmm. So if you have any questions about what the limitations on political activities are for you as a VISTA member and other regulations and laws regarding your service, such as the Hatch Act, please revisit the Terms and Conditions course and view Chapter 14 of the VISTA Member Handbook.
Now, moving from what is expected of you, we're going to talk about your rights and responsibilities. So prior to starting service, you should have taken the Civil Rights and Responsibilities course on the Vista campus. So we want to briefly recap it. First, if you believe that you've experienced or witnessed discrimination or harassment, and if you feel safe and comfortable doing so, you should first approach and talk to the person you suspect of engaging in harassing or discriminating behavior directly. If that doesn't work, or if you do not feel safe and comfortable doing so, you can talk to your VISTA supervisor. If you cannot go to your VISTA supervisor, or if it does not get resolved with your VISTA supervisor, you should contact your state office. Finally, you can contact the corporation's official Office of Civil Rights and Inclusiveness if the issue does not get resolved at the state office level. I haven't heard of it going to that level before, but in case it does, you do have the right to contact them. Another thing we want you to be, another rights and responsibilities, AmeriCorps Vista is a federal program, and like anything supported by taxpayer funds, we need to ensure that the program is well run, doing what it's supposed to do, spending money wisely. So like all federal agencies, the Corporation for National and Community Service has an Inspector General whose office is responsible for preventing and detecting waste, fraud, and abuse. So what does this mean for you? What this means is that there are a few red flags that you should be aware of. So first red flag, if you're being asked to take over the work of someone who left, that's considered replacing staff, and it's not allowed. So if the organization says, man, it really stinks that Ann left, she was the greatest social media person in the world, we'll just get the Vista to do it. I don't want to hire anybody. That's not right. That's a big red flag. Second, if most of what you're doing is administrative support for someone else, that's not appropriate for the Vista. So if you're Coco the coffee girl, that's not cool. Or if you're Brad the bagel guy, like, not cool. That's not what you should be doing. It's not appropriate work. You should be focusing on the things that are outlined in your Vista assignment description, and that directly ties to your overall project, which was approved by us, and that's what you need to be doing. And along with this, the majority of the work that you should be doing should be considered capacity building. We talked about that on Monday. You should be working to make the project or a system more effective, more efficient. You should not be doing direct service. You're going to be learning more about what these look like, what those differences are in the coming days, but those are just a few things to be aware of. Once again, if you feel like you're being asked to do things that are appropriate, you need to first talk about it with your supervisor. From there, you can talk to your state office, and if the issue is not resolved, or if you want to remain anonymous, you can contact our Office of the Inspector General, and their information is on the screen.
Yeah. We want to remind you of a few sources that can support you as you move further into your Vista experience. So first is your supervisor. They should be the first person you contact for any questions related to your VAD or workplace. If your project has a Vista leader, not all projects do, he or she can be a resource as well. The corporation has representatives in every state and territory working in corporation state offices. They can handle issues related to your Vista sponsor, supervisor, or emergencies that may affect your service. Your online classroom facilitator is available to support you in completing your PSO assignments. And as we mentioned earlier, the VMSU, or Vista Member Support Unit, helps with questions about benefits, MyAmeriCorps, or when in doubt, reach them through the National Service Hotline. This information is on the Vista campus, so search support and keep it where you can find it.
One of the greatest things about being a Vista member, and I think you'd agree with this, is being part of the wonderful family of Vista. And really, as a Vista community member, we want you to show your Vista pride. You never know where that Vista logo is going to take you, what connections you're going to make. So we want you to put the AmeriCorps Vista logo on your business cards, in your email signature, and on your organization's website, social media sites, and brochures. Let them know, I'm an AmeriCorps Vista, and I'm proud to be an AmeriCorps Vista. The more visible you are, the more support that you get for your project and for the overall Vista program, which means more Vistas in the community doing the work that needs to get done. So we just posted web links in the chat where you can get some publications and gear to use in your office and represent Vista in the field. Don't forget to take pictures and share them with us through our Twitter and Facebook accounts. We may share your story. We are doing Vista newsletters, so maybe you'll be featured in one of our newsletters. That'd be pretty cool. Also, once you complete PSO Blend, after your 3 weeks are done, you're going to receive an email from me about how to order your free, yeah, I said free, Vista Polo, Vista lapel pin, and reusable Vista tote bag. So once you complete PSO Blend, you're going to get all those instructions.
Super, super cool. So here are a few reminders about things that you need to do as part of your entry into the Vista program. Review your Vista benefits, especially your health care benefit. Make sure you have health coverage or get documentation of your exemption from the requirement. Do both of these at healthcare.gov. Enroll in a Vista health benefit option. Remember, you'll be getting an email from IMG with a link to enroll in the coming weeks. Get fingerprinted and submit the criminal history questionnaire if applicable. You should have your fingerprinting materials. If not, get them from your supervisor. And if you haven't received it from your supervisor, please send an email to vistafingerprint@cns.gov and try to get fingerprinted as soon as possible.
And while we're on our reminders and next steps, there are a number of you who have not turned in your oath form. So on Monday, we did that oath. There are about like a third of you who have not done it. You did your oath, you should have signed it, your supervisor should have signed it, you should have sent it to the Vista Member Support Unit. Right before this webinar, I got a list of those of you who have not turned it in. You need to do that by the end of the day today, or else we cannot activate you for service. We cannot get you paid. You do not get your benefits. So please turn that in as soon as possible because we really do want to pay you. So what's next? What's next is your assignments. So we have a few just dates here. You have all this information, but just a quick reminder. Remember, on Sunday, July 30th, your comprehension check quiz, your minute intro, how poverty is measured, and bad worksheet assignments are due. So make sure you turn those in on time. Wednesday, August 2nd, you will have a virtual meetup, your first one with your small groups. That'll be at 3 p.m. Eastern, same time, a week from today at the same time. Then on that Sunday, August 6th, you're going to turn in 13 lessons about poverty and your community profile. The following Wednesday, you are going to have your second virtual meetup at 3 p.m. Eastern. And then Friday, August 11th, your final assignment is due. That's like 5 things. You guys got 5 things. And then you're done with PSO Blend. So that's what's coming up next. Make sure, especially for these assignments that are due on Sundays, make sure you have all the things that you need. You're going to need to talk to your supervisor in order to complete these assignments. So make sure you connect with them. Don't wait till Friday at 4 because they may not be there.
Okay, so we're now going to take some questions from all of you, but before we do, I'll mention the evaluation poll that's now open on the right side of the screen. Please take a moment to answer the 10 questions. You'll need to use the scroll bar to see them all.
That's right. We love it. As we said on Monday, we want to hear what you thought. We really do. We want to make sure that we can give you what you need with these. Please let us know so we can improve these in the future for your Vista colleagues. Let us know. So now, as Ann mentioned, we're going to go into the Q&A. We know that maybe not all your questions got answered. Maybe things popped up after we talked about the living allowance. So now we're going to invite you to use the Q&A panel on the right-hand side to ask a question. You can also ask a question over the phone by pressing *1 and stating your name verbally. Make sure that it is clear when you say your name, and you can ask a question over the phone. So I know some questions did come in, Ann. So let's go ahead. Let me find the first one that I saw here. Someone in here had a question about the travel allowance. Someone wanted to know, I know that you have to go from the same address to and from your site. So for those of you who relocated to serve, you would have received reimbursement for mileage from your home to your project site. They asked, what if the permanent address changes due to your parents moving or that you no longer live at that address? So if that is the situation, what you can do is you can write to the Vista Member Support Unit, and you can request that your official home of record be changed. You can request that. The Vista Member Support Unit Director will review and see if they can approve that request. It is at their discretion. But you will want to send an email to the Vista Member Support Unit, which is vmsu@cns.gov. I'm going to type that in the chat right now. Send them an email, and they'll be able to let you know what that, if that can be approved and all of those sorts of things. When you send them that address, make sure to give them as much detail as possible.
All right, there's another question. Can I go on the radio to advertise for a fundraiser or event for my sponsor organization, or does that count as being a spokesperson? So if it relates to your VAD and the project and what you're doing, then absolutely go onto the radio and advertise. I know for my project, I had to do a lot of talks in the community so that I could help get the community support and have local government officials supporting. It would have been kind of awkward if I couldn't talk to them about what I'm doing. So just make sure that it's related to your VAD.
Yeah, and really, I had to do kind of the same thing when I was at Vista. I had to publicize one of the things on a PSA. You can definitely do that. Really, that spokesman piece is really if you're doing the political activity, things that are covered under the Hatch Act. You can't go on the radio and say, hey, as an AmeriCorps Vista member, these are my opinions on blah, 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 politics, politics, politics. Right. That's where it gets into an issue. But yeah, as Ann said, if it's related to your VAD, definitely you can go ahead and do that. Well, Ann looks for a question. I'm going to go ahead and say, or and ask if we have any questions coming in over the phone.
I have no questions at this time.
Okay.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, April asks where the instructions on the VAD are.
Yeah.
If you're talking about the VAD assignment, it will be at the course, the classroom. So the Vista courses classroom for the blend.
Yeah, so it's where you are right now, April. You logged into your Vista classroom to join this webinar. All of your assignments are in that classroom. So it should be broken down by like week 1. You should be able to see all those instructions for all of those assignments in the classroom that you're currently in. So once you end this webinar, you should be able to go and look in your account and on that main homepage, see the assignments that are due. All right, let's see here. Let me make sure I didn't miss any questions that may have come in over the chat. And once again, operator, do you have any questions coming in over the phone?
And I still show no questions at this time.
Wonderful, thank you.
All right, there's the question, if we didn't get fingerprint cards, is it possible to get them where we go to get fingerprinted? So the answer is yes and no. I would prefer for you to get our fingerprint kit, which includes our instructions, and the cards are correctly labeled so that the FBI knows how to run them for us. Fingerprint cards from local police stations aren't necessarily the same ones that we use. So just wait for your supervisor. Everyone's supervisor and sponsor has them or it's en route to them. If they haven't gotten it yet, like I said earlier, send us a quick email at Vista Fingerprint at cns.gov, and we will work with your state office to see what's going on.
Yeah, definitely check in with your supervisor if they say, I don't know what you're talking about, definitely follow up with Vista Fingerprint. If they say, hey, it'll get here tomorrow, just hold off and you'll get them tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And I did post Vista Fingerprint at cns.gov in the chat in case you need it. All right, one last time, I'm going to go to the phone. Do we have any questions over the phone?
No, ma'am, I still have no questions.
Wonderful. Any other questions that you see, Ann, that we missed?
No, just a question about knowing if they were one of the people who did not submit their oath.
Who is this person?
Jason George.
Jason George. Let me see, Jason, while I have you here. Jason, oh, nope, you did it. Good job, Jason. So please, for those of you who have not done your oath, please turn it in as soon as possible. We want to pay you. I really want to pay you.
I want to pay you too.
We all want you to get paid. Why don't you want to get paid? Anyways, looks like there's no other questions here. I want to say thank you all. Thank you for what you're going to do. Thank you for all that you're putting into PSO, into your service, and really into this next year. We do want to leave you with this one quote. Ann, you want to read from Lyndon here?
Sure, I would love to. So, from Lyndon Johnson, December 12th, 1964. Your pay will be low, the conditions of your labor will often be difficult, but you will have the satisfaction of leading a great national effort, and you will have the ultimate reward, which comes to those who serve their nation and who serve their fellow man.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Lyndon Johnson, everyone, we're going to leave you with him. Please have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you again in the next session.
Bye.